Alright guys, here we are for the mid-season finale of Season 9, Episode 8 of The Walking Dead. Now, I got to the middle of the episode and I was like, alright, I was wrong.
And God.
And then, and I was prepared to like be like, okay, you know, I said, because they were like talking about evolution, they were saying things, they were doing this and that.
We went back and forth a lot, and I was afraid you'd be like, in your face, fuck you, or something like that. But I think both of us kind of went back and forth.
It wasn't until I watched that guy, like, it was when he juts at the end.
Of course.
Like, and I was like, oh, I was right! I was right!
No, I think, though, that both of us were going back and forth, kind of saying, I think at the end we, like, together arrived at, like, well, it doesn't make sense either way, so I don't even know how we're supposed to figure out what it's going to be. They really weren't dropping any clues, per se. I don't think that zombie's articulate voice is like an actual clue. I think they just made it sound like that.
One of the voices wasn't. The other voice I thought was.
I don't think that was a clue for the audience.
Oh, I don't know if it was like, but it was one of those like guilty or bad actor type things.
Yeah,
and like it sparked me into my chase of conspiracies.
Yeah. No, and you were absolutely correct on like your actual conclusion or whatever. But I don't think that was an actual. I don't think that they said make that zombie sound really clear so that people know it's a human, like because we don't know what a zombie talking is supposed to sound like. So okay, I had the opposite experience of you.
Okay.
Where I was like, okay, let's. I wrote down the timeline. All right, I don't need these notes. These are a crutch. We spoke last time. One of the last things you said was, well, the title's evolution. It's definitely not, talking zombies. Then because they're a bunch of liars.
Yeah,
right?
They are liars.
So. That was last week, so for like 4 days I walked around like, they are a bunch of fucking liars. Why would they call it evolution and have all these things in like the trailer? They could never just pay off something that they set up. They always have to be, because they're not liars, they're like cheeky cunts. They're always like, oh, we have to like spin it and change it and make it's not what you expect. They love that shit. So then I'm like, okay, so I guess it is. And like part of me was like, all right, well, maybe
or is the twist a twist? Did you backstab
no.
the backstabber?
They're completely not self-aware in like the slightest about what they're doing overall or whatever. I go on AMC.com to like watch the episode, and I get round 2 of the spoiler. There's like a fucking article, because I'm watching it like 2 or 3 days after it gets released or whatever. There's an article called "A New Enemy," and it's got a zombie standing there wearing like an old-timey like suit with like a coat, like he looks like he's about to like pull out a pocket watch or something like that. And I'm like, is that like the
zombie leader?
Is that like the like counselor of like the zombie? Are we gonna parlay with this weird zombie Colonel Sanders? Is that what's happening here? And I'm like, no, it's obviously not like a real zombie, I guess. But and then I go, okay, well maybe they're not. Maybe the whole herd is like humans, because that would work. That would be perfect. And then evolution could be like they worship the zombies and like it's the next evolution of life and they're trying to get like an early start. Ooh, that's actually great. Then the episode opens and we see literal actual zombies. There's chunks missing. They're definitely not people wearing costumes. And I'm like, okay, well this roller coaster just keeps like dipping. I can't handle this. In that first shot, they like zoom in on like a dude. It's an obvious dude. It's a dude wearing a poncho. He like turns his head to the side and like you see him and I'm like, that's just a fucking dude. So the whole episode I was like a bunch of things happened in this episode that I have no idea about because I spent the next 38 minutes like, that was a fucking dude. Is this just a fucking dude? That doesn't make any sense. What? And then finally, because like you, I'm like, well maybe it's not a dude. No, that was a fucking dude. I know a dude when I see a dude.
I clocked that weird look, but I'm like the same thing where you were like, that could just be an actor doing a blah blah. I'm like, that could just be somebody doing a thing because the way he turned his head, like we've seen him before when they hear a noise and it's like,
exactly. Yes.
But so that didn't trigger me.
Something about how swole he was and wearing the poncho the way he was, something about it, I was like, that's just a fucking dude. And honestly, I don't even know if that's one of the dudes from later or not, but I'm just relating my experience and the roller coaster ride that I went on watching this episode.
I really enjoyed the episode though.
Okay.
I thought that they did a lot of stuff that was kind of cool.
A lot of things happened. I will give them that.
I loved Daryl throwing
I didn't hate the episode,
the
but
little the alarm clock
alarm clock, firecrackers, like he's
things
doing
in general.
stuff.
The firecrackers, I'm like, okay, we've seen things like that before. Blah blah.
Sure.
That like, I'm like, over time, I'm like, I don't know if those would still even work and this and that. But alarm clocks, I'm like, oh yeah, they're in like every house. You could just have like a fucking stockpile.
Old
of those
school
fucking
alarm
things.
clocks in
I love, like,
in the
egg
American
timers
South
and
or whatever.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool. I love Daryl just being a boss. When Daryl's like, nah, I got this. I'm like, oh yeah, Daryl's got this. And then when Daryl didn't get this, I was like, Daryl, you didn't get this.
The look on his face was actually really good.
Oh yeah.
I've been liking a lot of the performances. I think even though Norman Reedus like being interviewed and saying like we're not trying to replace Andy, we're all stepping up though or whatever. I think he like kind of meant that because we get a lot of good. A lot of things happening here, or like whatever.
Certainly.
No, but like when because he actually says, "I'll probably meet, I'll
get there before you.
I'll probably beat you there, motherfucker." Like that's awesome or whatever.
I thought he almost would too,
Yeah.
because I'm like, yep. I'm like, I think Daryl could, like. If
Yeah.
it was a normal herd of zombies, I'm like, yep, he would derail them, and then like he's fast as fuck, and they're carrying a crippled dude. I bet he will beat him there.
And like a lot of characters when they're out in the woods at night, you're like, oh well, this is gonna hamper them. They might turn, and then oh shit, there's a zombie there, and whatever. But Daryl lives in the woods at night. He's fine. He's like, yep, this is exactly what I am used to. It's wonderful.
And he's got the early warning system of the
He's got
dog.
dog. Yeah, I love it.
So I was like, that's very coool.
Yeah.
Just to jump to things that I didn't like about the episode, I was like, okay, so Michonne and that other, I don't know what her name is, Knifey McThrow, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the hell did they find out where
It's
they
awful.
were and get there at the, like, that was, I'm like, come on, man. Anything else could have happened there. Like, you could have just, got through a piece of the fence and it would have worked just as well. You didn't need them there.
Was Rosita even
No, she wasn't even with them.
Because she's, I don't. So again, like,
and yes, she could have said they're here, but
Okay.
it was that she didn't meet them at the barn where he was buried. She met him miles off a different direction where they were trying to avoid
halfway
zombies.
coming back from the thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't like. This reminded me, and I was critical of it too. When Andrew Lincoln is having his fake death or whatever. Every character that's ever had a speaking role on the show shows up wearing all their normal costumes to the bridge to watch him fake die. Like what? And like people who were not in the same place, people that had other things to do that day. Somehow everyone in a world with very limited mass communication with walkie-talkies.
The thing though that made that okay for me was that ended up being a nice visual shot.
Yes, it's fine. That's why they do these things.
But I didn't gain anything from having Michonne and that person.
Michonne just says
the only thing you get is that new character proves herself to Michonne.
Earning my keep.
I was like, okay, I guess that's a thing.
No, but they don't in the other wide shots.
It cheapens Jesus' death.
Yeah, they're barely in the other wide shots. It's not a thing. I don't know why. I had the exact same reaction. In my notes, I'm like, I guess Rosita told them enough to
I didn't like that.
That's really more or a lot of what I hate about the show are these it's been so long. We can't have just in time, oh, we saved the day things.
Well,
this is
in fairness, they didn't save the day.
No,
so
yes.
Much,
well,
which I like. So I did think it cheapened his death just having that well, why the fuck are they even there? Because they didn't help the scene at all. So I was like, okay, whatever. Because it took me out of it. Because if Jesus would have just died, you would have been like, holy shit, Jesus. And I was a little bit like Jesus died.
Yes.
But I think it would have meant more if they weren't there. It's like, and I guess they're going for the, haha, we're here to save the day. Oh no, we didn't save the day. But I don't think it worked for me.
It was fine. Yeah, you would. My favorite deaths are the deaths where it just sort of happens.
Yes, and this kind of did that.
Really feel it happen. Exactly.
And it did have exposition purposes where we did learn now that there are fucking crazies out there.
Yeah.
So the moment you saw the zombie do a sidestep by that grave. And then the zombies walk past him. I was like, that's when I was like,
oh, okay.
I was like, all right. So he's moved not like a zombie. These are people. And then it got confirmed in that. When he kills Jesus, obviously, because he uses tools and he fucking dodges them like he's fucking Brad Pitt in Troy. And
no,
I
it's
was
wonderful.
Like, all right, this is pretty great.
So that that was the obvious moment for me of the confirmation because I was still thinking I'm not sure what's going on with the fucking because
they danced a lot around things and you're like, okay, they're behaving in such a way that they are hunting people. I was so fearful that Eugene was gonna say I hid here myself or something to that effect. I was gonna be like, how the fuck did he get the hay on top of him? How'd you move the
hay on top of it?
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm so glad he said that Rosita stashed him there.
Because
even if they just didn't say anything, I would have been angry.
Okay, good. So they're responding to your criticism through time and space.
I can't stand things like that, and
Yeah.
like they've done things like that in the past.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, that's impossible. You couldn't have then put the rug back over the trapdoor.
You locked it from the outside. What? Yeah.
I love that Negan is free. And
Okay.
I don't know what to make of that exactly. Where I was like, did that guy just lock the door while it was still open? And like like we've all done before. But then when you close it, the bolt catches the thing, and it would be like clang. Like
Yep.
I didn't notice anything different when it was first done.
I watched the actual like cemetery part twice, but I skipped through all this part again. I don't know if we're meant to think that he rattled Gabe enough to like not notice and fuck something up or whatever.
I don't know.
But
Gabe didn't lock the door. The
guard
guard locked
the random
door.
dude did.
Yeah.
The Xavier dude, maybe.
Maybe.
I have no idea.
I had two things in my head when that scene happened. So I was like, either this is the moment where he just grabs his ball and goes back in, but leaves the door open.
I thought he was going to do that,
and they see they can trust him.
Yep.
Or the flip side, I thought he was going to pop out and save Eugene.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, because either way, I was like, I think we're going to get the redeeming quality, because you're going to get Negan out of the cage now, especially now that he's fighting sickos. You got to unleash the dog.
Sickos.
Like that's just how it goes.
Yeah. No, I like it. I had the same moment where I thought maybe he's going to just go back in the cell and then start bouncing the ball again. That would have been like a artsy thing to do or something like that. But he just pieces out. I don't know where he's going or what he's going off to. It feels kind of cheap or dumb to me because it's the finale and now Negan's just out there.
He's going to have some information the next time you see him, I think. And it's going to be like, all right, we got some guys out here dressed like zombies. And he's going to find a new bat and he's going to fucking
some people that need to be saved.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. No, I don't know. We can with the time jump, we can backfill like a lot of information to soften this and make this like make sense or whatever. But
we still need to hear a lot of stuff about Michonne's problem with Maggie. We need all that
so
business
much more
because they're making that seem like it's some huge blow up. And I did this to save us. We couldn't do it. Like, what was the problem?
So based on this show's track record, I feel like
it's probably Negan.
Oh, yeah?
I would imagine they had a big fight over, like, because they wanted to kill Negan, and she's
that got resolved.
But I think that
she walked away like word. It was fine.
I think something is going to happen more with that.
Based on this show's track record, I feel like the thing is that, like Michonne insisted that the different communities stay separate or something like that. Like it's going to turn out to be like nothing, and I'm going to hate it.
There needs to be something bigger.
They did this before with for a whole season. Every character was like, Eugene's master plan got us out of the sanctuary, and then it was like, what was this? Like we never found out exactly what his plan was.
Yeah, it was shoot lots of bullets at the bad
zombies
guys,
so that we can get out. It's so dumb. So I
Genius
feel like.
Plan.
Master plan. We got the plan maker. I was skeptical, but then the plan maker came through in the end. That's horrible.
Yeah.
I liked some of the stuff between Gabe and Negan, but I think it kind of indicates that Negan's not like rehabilitated. Like there's no like he's out now, and I do expect everything that you're saying to happen, but I don't really think they did a great job of setting up that he's changing. Like he kind of says, "Oh, sorry, man," when he finds out about Rosita, but I don't know.
It looked like his face is Jeffrey Dean Morgan's an actor and
he's
and
able
like
to act,
when he said sorry I was like oh, this is like when Carl died, and he said like I could see like he actually seemed like he was a little bummed.
Yeah.
I do think I just forgot what the fuck is Rick's daughter's name. Judith. I would like to see a thing where maybe he comes back in at the right moment to save Judith, because it seemed like they bonded and he has no reason to dislike anything about her.
Big time.
So I could see like the zombies are fucking coming in, and then fucking Negan rides in with like a horse and a bat, and he's just clubbing bitches and like scoops her up and takes off.
Polo, bitch.
Yeah.
No, I
would actually love to see him with like, well, no, like Lucille's gone. This is Bubba. He's from a croquet set.
This is Betty.
Yeah, some little.
I don't think she'd mind if I moved on. Something like that. No, I think that we were like thinking about that. Like,
call this one Carl.
It's called Carl. It has like
it's missing an eye.
It's a hole out. It's like a potato with a chunk taken out. I think that we all kind of expected it in the back or front of our minds for like Negan's thing to be like, let me out. I will help. You can trust me. And then like doing it and making good on it, and then everyone going, okay, he's fine or whatever. I think
there will be
this is more interesting than that, though.
But
right?
no, I still think you're gonna get that moment,
Yeah.
and he's gonna save the day, and they're still gonna not trust him. He's like, really, really, after I saved the fucking
what?
day?
And they're like, you left. You
And
like,
then
broke out.
there will be a scene like that
Yeah.
where they're like, all right,
Another
let him
one.
out. We need to blah blah. We need all hands on deck.
Release the Kraken. This
Yeah.
dude has been locked up in a fucking
Release the
cage.
head Kraken.
Yeah, because he's supposed. Okay, so like this happens a lot on a lot of shows and movies and like video games and everything. It's fine, but like when someone is locked up for years, like even if you're doing push-ups in there, right? You're not going to be at your best when you finally get out. So they're going to be like, the badass has returned, and it's like. Right, so I don't know what. Like he's a relatively old man in the post-apocalypse.
I don't know.
Eating rations and chilling in there.
Because his cell isn't very small.
Yeah.
It's big. It's like bigger than a traditional cell. I think if I were locked in a cell for like X amount of whatever, I could come out better than I went in.
You could. I just don't always think that they do whatever work they need
Certainly,
necessary.
and there's no montage here with his legs locked in the bar doing crunches and shit. Like,
yeah. So,
like that's what you would want, right?
So
like a Jackie Chan fucking Van Damme moment where he's lifting tubs and shit.
Terminator 2. Linda Hamilton's in that cell, and she's like rearranged the furniture to be able to like work out and like and like do stuff, and she's sweating and like fucking working out because the Judgment Day is coming or whatever, right? We don't really have that, which wouldn't fit here, but like we don't really have that implication. We've talked enough about Negan. He's out. Something something'll happen. Whatever. Let's talk about young Henry and get that out of the way before we
Young
return.
Henry, didn't like him when he was really young, still don't like him very much.
No, I now don't like him anymore. I was so like optimistic because I didn't like young Henry. Now we have middle young Henry.
It's better than young Henry because it's less annoying. He's more capable. I don't like just his like I don't know. Is it a better like holier than thou style attitude? Like
he's a Boy Scout.
Yeah, he is a Boy Scout, and that doesn't really surprise me. Being raised by the King and Carol, who are both like. We do this because of this, like, whatever. I don't know. His whole interaction with those kids felt really fake. All that shit. I was like, come on, man. What is this bullshit? Why is everyone always like... I'm tired of the, like, we're rebellious teens. We go outside the wall because reasons. Like, I can't stand that when I'm like, just have them die.
My main issue with... all of this, honestly, is that like we kind of like did it before already on the show. And I'm not saying the show can only do everything once, but like really we shouldn't we should not like there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do once you have like civilization. I've talked about this before. And he says like, well, drunken disorderly's 2 days locked up or whatever, right? I like that there's a system now. I like that there's teens rebelling against the system who like don't appreciate how dangerous the world is because they're living now. Like it's come full circle. Carl and Judith lived like out in the world. And now we have kids that spent a lot of their years in like a stable environment, so they're kind of like, hey, we keep a zombie, because but honestly, like didn't the younger people from Alexandria have like a zombie tied up who and they were fucking with them too or something like that?
That's what people do now. Apparently, everyone's a sadist.
And I was gonna say, like, why would you even like that? That seems so weird.
Let me pee on it. I'm funny.
Yes,
no, it's lame.
I also did not like this whole thing, though, is what I'm saying. Because, like, I think we did it maybe a little better before or, like, differently before or something like that. I don't know. I just, I desperately want to explore the realities of the post-apocalypse, but I do not like the things that they are doing to do that.
Well, it comes in conjunction with a plethora of characters I just don't give a shit about. So it's like 3 people I met just now. I have no investment in them. I don't care about them. None of them seem to have any redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
And the one that like you're supposed to rally behind is Henry, who is just kind of boring.
Yep. Kind of newbie drunk, sort of. Smashing the zombie.
He seemed to have had like 3 sips of alcohol, and he was like vomiting and going crazy. Like,
I assume he was they were all drinking before.
No, we saw his first sip. He was like, oh, I can't. And they're like, come on, try it.
I thought he meant I can't have any more because I'm already too drunk. He seemed drunk already to me.
Oh, I don't know. I think he just seemed lame.
So overall, lame. And this is what I mean. So like, picture me watching this, being like, that was a fucking dude. At 3 minutes and 10 seconds in, that was a fucking, like the whole time, I was just preoccupied with that, sitting through all these scenes. So I have no, like, yes, it's fine, whatever, it's fine, yeah. He bonds with the blacksmith over, like, drinking or something like that. I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, I like the blacksmith more than I like him.
Is that the same actor playing the black? Okay, yeah. He looked different to me, and I'm like, did you get a new actor? Did you like Wayne's World this and be like, call on a different guy? He has to give a speech. It was very weird. Whatever.
Are there any parts that we're missing here from this episode?
So just to fill in the little gaps while I stall for time and check my notes, we got a little thing. When Jesus died, I was not surprised because earlier someone says, the leader of this camp calls himself Jesus. Oh, that's creepy, whatever. Well, once we meet him, it'll be like whatever. And I'm like, he's out there on a dangerous mission, and once we meet him, or whatever.
Like anything, whenever someone's like, you go ahead, I'll hold them back, or whatever, I'm like, well, they're going to die, because there's no reason to do that. He could have already been out of there.
And this is a pet peeve of yours, I know, just in general. When someone's like, I'll hold them off, and then like they show you how much they hold them off, and it's like, you could have been useful hundreds of times in the future, and you barely delayed them. What are you doing?
And like,
no one's thinking
didn't even, like,
properly.
And had he just moved at a human's pace away from them, and he would have clearly been like, oh, that one's moving a little fast. That might not be a zombie. Like, but he he sauntered over to him, went to do his little Jesus whatever. That guy dodged it and stabbed him, and just. So I'm like, come on, Jesus, you're a fucking ninja. Like, what are you doing?
So we have to talk about Jesus.
Yes.
I think I hate Jesus.
Well,
and I'm fine that he's dead. His death here, kind of underwhelming, honestly. So okay,
underwhelming, but it wasn't something I would have expected them to do in the way they did it.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, whatever.
No. Like,
you did know there was probably going to be a death though, because of it's a mid-season finale. It's
and like
death time.
So like someone had to die, and someone's like, "You'd be a great leader if you just like stepped up," or like all these it's so I'm so over it. I'm so done with the show. The moment where he gets killed is honestly really great. And I don't know how you felt about the cemetery like set piece or whatever, but
I liked it. I don't like unnatural fog that much, and like the way like that fog was, it was like very much like, oh, let's make a fog like perfect circle around them.
So it felt kind of weird to me. I almost said like it was like out of like a different show, like a Buffy cemetery scene or something like that. But I have no idea what that show looked like anymore, so I'm just making that up. But I ended up liking it a lot. In like the trailers, when we talked about it, we were like, this like shitty whatever. But like in the moment, I was like, oh, this is like fun. This is good or something. I was into it.
Like Aaron's arm bite scene happened, and that was cool. You saw more of that arm, like, and it's like the top part looks like regular steel,
like
and the bottom looks like rusted.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm down. I like him taking on a bigger role of more of this and that, and now with Jesus gone, he has to fill in the ninja role because I was trained by him. I now am him.
Yep. I was like, so okay. Jesus' acting, I think is bad. I think it's been bad for a long time. And his redeeming quality was that he was a ninja. Then the show forgot he was a ninja and made him some sort of like wise, like this end for humans, this end for zombies, or the dead or whatever, right? And it was I feel like they haven't known what to do with this character, and it's been kind of like a mess. And him dying here feels more like cleaning up than like this like satisfying thing. I think giving him, I guess the actor has some sort of training or something like that, or maybe not, I don't even know, but giving him all these like slow-mo ninja moves, bite the curb, spin kick flip things as his like final send-off is just the perfect thing where it's like, why didn't he do this against the Saviors? Why was he just like walking? Like, what the fuck? Like
he had some scenes where he's like ta-ta-ta like people.
He does, but like I feel like the show just busts out his moves when it's convenient.
Yeah, but that's true about every aspect of everything in this show.
Exactly. It's not a unique Jesus problem, but I noticed it with him the most because he's just sort of floating around. He's just being used to like counsel people when necessary, and he's just shoved in. And you have this like overpowered person on like your team, so you can't use him, or he can't be in certain places, or he has to be there and you just don't have him do his like stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a common like problem, and I think without really realizing it, I was totally sick of it. And now that he's gone, I'm like, great. There's a bunch of characters. Aaron now, I would feel worse about. Eugene, all these different people. I would be like, oh no, without them, something's different now. But this, I don't.
We didn't really lose much. He's not one of the originals. He's not like super personality of people. I do just to think back. You just mentioned Eugene.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we'll just pop it back in, and then no one pops it back in.
Well, he says like, no, we gotta go, and that's another thing. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Yes.
Like, if your knee was not dislocated, you might be able to walk a little faster.
Something, right? I don't know how knees work. So then we are left with, I really, really enjoyed the moment where the zombie jukes out of the way and whatever.
Yeah, no, it was well framed too.
Yes.
Like it happened nicely in the shot.
It felt really good. it like really felt good. Like I was like shocked at how good it like came off. Because again, I'm sitting there the whole time biting my fingernails like a crazy person. Like that was a dude, but we haven't done any things with dudes yet, and there's obviously zombies here. So because that's why this whole time it hasn't made sense. It's like how are the fake zombies controlling the real zombies? Are you just shoulder checking them and making them turn?
I think they just are in the front and zombies follow movement.
I guess I don't know.
Would be my guess, and then they just slink to the back to let them.
I think you're thinking about it more than anyone on The Walking Dead.
My thought is mainly like how does naps work? How does like anything like that work?
That was my issue.
How do you ever slip out of the horde without being followed?
Yeah.
And maybe they don't. I don't know. But the so it ends and I like how the different people realize because like Michonne's blade is covered in blood, which it hasn't been like ever because everything doesn't have blood. And like well, and then Daryl's like. Cuts the stitches in the back of that fucking thing.
This whole
like,
thing.
all right, these are like real, like legit faces you're wearing.
What are these or whatever? Yeah, I don't know if you can skin a zombie face. It seems like they're falling apart. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I would say you'd have to.
It must be like
skin one that just died, and you have to dry the skin.
Yeah,
to make
it must be like
mask.
it must be like a leather or something.
Yeah, that would be my thought.
Or maybe it's a mask that has a zombie mask stitched onto the outside of it or something. We can make it up for them.
Mainly, it's just that it's not just the mask though. They have to be covered in like entrails and stuff that makes them smell, or the just the rotting face is enough. I don't know.
No, he's wearing like a goopy poncho, and I think they kind of all were when they all rush out to like fight or whatever. Oh man, I hate it so much.
I don't hate it because like it is something that's established canon and it is interesting. It's just that I need more of that backstory on how they're doing exactly what they're doing.
Like they managed to like end the and in true Walking Dead fashion by like confirming something is something, but not explaining any of the reasons I would have a problem with it being that. And I'm supposed to be like, oh, I can't wait to find.
Well, my thought is if I had to explain it just based on what I know right now that they have established in the episode, it would be that like when we saw them like walking in circles, that wasn't them searching at the moment. That was like okay, one guy would take the lead,
they're pulling
get them to walk, and then the other guys can like be out the back of the trail, slip off, and like start to sleep or eat or whatever, and then like they have shifts. Maybe. That's how I would like. I'm like, if you had to say, how would you do this? That's the only way I can think of right now without putting more like much thought into it.
I think that might be jumping too many steps out. Like if I just use what's in the show, like the herd was bigger when it like caught them or whatever. I think they're like grouping. I think they're pulling zombies and like getting a large group that to like attract zombies, and maybe someone walks off and like brings more zombies together, and they make a big group. And then they like spin it into like a certain direction. Or
it's
whatever.
Possible.
That was my like.
I thought they were going to show
of
more of individual zombies because they're like that can't be the same herd, and like so we would know if it indeed was the same herd because maybe it could be what you're talking about where it's like oh no they're coming in from different directions with different herds, and that's how like it's able to actually catch you. Because
I just picture like if I have to get a herd going out of nowhere, right? You like you find like 8 zombies and you just kind of mill them about. You somehow stimulate them or whatever in a way. I don't know. Like it's very weird. Whatever. I guess if the zombie reads you, so like whenever people put entrails on before, it was always like we have to fucking shut up, be chill, because if we tip them off, they're gonna suddenly like attack us or whatever, right? But here it seems like everything you would do to like get their attention would like tip them off or something like that, and it's like, well, you read as a zombie now, so they're not going to actually try to eat you or something. But shouldn't that be true of like Rick and like Glenn wearing entrails before? Like, why is this different? I need to know these things.
They must have some visual ability as well, and then like one sense alone wasn't enough to keep them off the radar. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guarantee we're going to get some convoluted, crazy explanation in the coming episodes from like their leader as he explains the thing in the monologue before he's about to kill somebody.
Okay, and to get to that, so like he says, "You are where you do not belong," and like I feel because that was the whole thing was like they're crazy cultists who like worship the zombies or think differently about the zombies than our people do or something like that, and that's this like thing.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna find out.
So like whatever. the show has so little slack and like credit for me or whatever. We had a little spike in like goodness or something like that, but it was half of a season, and I'm not ready to extend them all the credit for the next several months that I need to feel good about this.
I still think things are on the upswing. They're better than they have been in a little while. We got to mention that they're going to be spinning off the Rick character into movies. That's something that is interesting. So we potentially that might have actually been the last episode with Rick Grimes, as they said in their promos, and we're gonna get all his stuff in the movies, filling up his backstory. I like the idea that Andrew Lincoln's like, nah, man, I'm done with the show. Yeah, I'll do movies.
Yeah,
like,
3. How many movies? 3? Yeah.
I imagine there's going to be a lot of movies, and I'm wondering exactly how much money they're putting into them. Are they going to be AMC original movies, or are these movies going to be theatrical released?
That was my main question too. Is it actually going to be in the theater?
Like, I could see that being the swing that got Andrew Lincoln on board. Where he's like, movies in the theater? Yeah, I haven't been in one of those in a little while. Let's do this.
That's the part that's actually really like encouraging to me, because I assume the way all this stuff works is like once you do film studio stuff, then because even like whoever owns AMC owns a film studio, I'm sure. I don't know how it works, which company or whatever, but they would have some people carry over, but they're still making the show, so they'd probably be like, we're going to get like this director who's good, who's going to like make it good. We're going to like, oh no, we'll just reshoot that. We have time. It's a movie, right? And they'll like make it actually good, which will solve a lot of my issues with the show.
It could be awesome. And I could see it the other way too, where it could be an AMC original movie on the channel, and I could see Andrew Lincoln saying, yeah, I'm in for that too, because like, all right, this is a little bit more serious. This is me like, the shooting schedule is different. The money is different.
No, and there's like a because I think they like announced 3, or there's some like target in place.
Yeah,
they could obviously make more, but I think his like attraction might be, this has like a definite end. Because my whole point was like, I need like
this forever,
I need an end date, you guys, come on, and like this like helps him get to that point or something like that. So
optimistic and interested.
Sure, I want to hear more about the plan for that and like what's happening or whatever. At the end of the episode, we hear zombie whispering.
Yeah.
They're trapped. Circle around them. Keep them together.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch more.
It's going to open interestingly.
A bunch more of these cultists.
We still have that opportunity for Negan to come out of nowhere.
Well, he would definitely not know where they are.
Nobody would.
We can say Rosita told the other people, but Negan... So anyone could show up, I guess.
Well, that's going to be the thing. You know what I heard Rosita talking about days in the past that you'd be interested in? Where Eugene was going to be.
There's a barn she likes to hide people with bum legs, and I put 2 and 2 together.
No, so we definitely have an interesting cliffhanger. We're waiting for months now before we get to see the resolution.
I liked a bunch of stuff in this episode, like I've been saying, but I think you also get the impression that I don't feel cliffed.
Yeah.
I feel like a little bitter about this whole situation.
Mostly it's just that I want to know how they're wrangling zombies. I want that information. So like I am cliffed enough that I am interested.
No, like I desperately want to see that stuff, but I'm like, guys, or whatever. I don't know. Like, we had to step stuff up. We had to make things more, I don't know, dangerous for our people or something like that. But the ability to, like, get the attention of a herd or, like, lure a herd into your settlement has been there the whole time. It isn't, like, a completely unique ability.
It's a unique direction of how it's being done.
Yeah.
I would imagine that none of these, zombie walker men have guns, or at least haven't used them in quite some time, because that would certainly alert zombies. So potentially our group here could win by just having a couple of guns.
Exactly. Yes.
So we'll see.
Yeah. No, so I mean, it's going to be weird if it just opens up in the cemetery and no one else knows they're there to show up. Maybe they get captured and they talk to the guy with the pocket watch zombie.
That would be my assumption.
That's awful.
If something is going to happen.
We're trying to convert you to the ways of the whatever zombie frickin' thing. I'm not enthusiastic. I am intrigued.
Sure.
Whatever.
All right, guys. So that's this episode of The Walking Dead. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.